I've always loved the sound of those free-form minor hexatonic blasts that Eric Johnson tosses around, like in the intro of Cliffs of Dover, for example. So for this week's lesson, I've come up with a lick that encapsulates some of Eric's phrasing and picking strategies for you guys to mess with. Check it out. Hey kids, and welcome to a brand new installment of Weekend Wankshop. Here with your best buddy, Uncle Ben. Ever since I heard that very first G3 live album with Satriani and Vi and Eric Johnson, I've always loved Johnson's super fast pentatonic phrasing. But the way he put those licks together remained a mystery to me for a long time until I watched Troy Grady's amazing Cracking the Code series here on YouTube, particularly the episode Eric the Wise. Basically, Eric has a bag of tricks that he uses harmonically and physically to make his kind of playing work. And the lick that I have designed for you guys to work on today isn't from a particular Johnson tune, but encapsulates a lot of those ideas, so hopefully you can absorb them and add them into your own playing. The time feel of this is really loose, and it's not really locked into any particular beat, but it's kind of the concepts that count more than anything. So before we get into it, let's hear it again at stepdad speed. As always, you guys can visit my Instagram page for a full tab for this week's lesson. So be sure to follow me over there at Ben Elder Guitars. Find the tab for this week's lesson, learn how to play it, and upload a video of yourself shredding through it, along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. Now, one thing you gotta know about Eric Johnson is that he loves that minor hexatonic scale. That sounds all fancy and stuff, but all that it is it's a minor pentatonic scale with an added ninth in there. In this case, if we're playing an E, it means it's just like E minor pentatonic, only add in an F sharp note. You could also call it the note a whole step above the root note, you know? So it sounds something like this. It's just a little less bluesy and a little bit more minor sounding than your traditional pentatonic. Now the very first thing that I did here is to start off by playing that open low E string just to kind of set the tonality. And then I played the 19th fret high E string with a little pinch harmonic. Now I'll tell you, this is one particular habit of Eric Johnson's that you just can't ignore. Whereas a lot of us just kind of randomly grab pinch harmonics just wherever our hand happens to hit. Eric is really fantastic about consistently nailing these like octave pinch harmonics. Basically what I'm getting at is that he positions his picking hand so that it is exactly 12 frets above whatever fretted note it is that he's playing. Sometimes this will even go much beyond the board of the guitar. So for example, like if he was playing a 12th fret B string note, he would try to make that pinch harmonic happen right where the 24th fret would be. Now this lovely Sir Alt T is a 22 fret guitar, so I kind of got to use my imagination and think about where fret 24 would be and make the pinch harmonic happen there. And if you do it in exactly the right spot, you'll get this awesome octave up sound. Check it out. It sounds exactly like the fretted note, but an octave higher. So because we're playing fret number 19 on the high E string here, that means you got to imagine where fret number 31 would be. If your frets just kept going up and up and up and getting smaller and smaller and smaller, you got to imagine where 31 would be. So for me on this guitar, it means that I'm kind of like right behind the edge of the neck pickup, you know? It's not this way, it's not this way, it's right behind that back edge right there. I'll say one more thing about these first two damn notes of this. So you start off by hitting the low E string, then you do the harmonic. But if that low E string is still ringing out when you hit that harmonic, it's just gonna drown it out. It's just too loud. So be sure whenever you come in for the pinch harmonic that using either this side of your thumb or this side of the back of your hand, that you mute the low E string as you pick the note. You could also use your free first finger here to kind of clamp down on it. That works too. This next phrase here has a couple of Eric's trademark picking and phrasing strategies, so I'll show you the lick and then break them down. Starting off here on the 15th fret B string, 17th fret B string, and then I'm going to the high E string here and I'm going to play 15, 19, 17, and back to 15. After this I'm going to go back to the B and play 17 and 15. So that phrase sounds like this. One more time. Now, one thing you've got to understand about Eric's picking is that whenever he is descending through licks, he favors changing strings on upstrokes exclusively whenever he's alternate picking. That's just part of what he does. And the way that he treats these 3 notes on the high E string really demonstrates that. So he's playing 15, 17, and 19, right? A lot of guitar players, they'd see those 3 notes on that string and they might play it like this. Just playing the same thing on the way up as they did on the way down, right? But the problem is if you're alternate picking, that means you're going down, up, down, up, down. I've just ended with a downstroke, which for Eric's style of downward pick slanting is a dead end. However, if I only use that middle note going in one direction, like descending, that magically solves the problem. Down, up, down, up. Now I can change strings and go back to the B. This is something that you see Eric do all the time. So next time you see 3 notes on a string, rather than playing them all up and down, try adding in just that middle note only in one direction, like this, or maybe like this. And you'll probably instantly be able to get through the strings a whole lot faster. This lick also demonstrates that same principle. I'm gonna be starting off here on the B string, fret number 12, then 15. And then on the high E string, again, there's a 3-note cluster right here, E, F sharp, and G, that hexatonic scale thing with that F sharp note in there. But I'm only gonna play this note descending, so check it out. Play 12, 15, 14, 12. Then what we're gonna do is to walk down the minor pentatonic scale here. We're gonna play 15 and 12 on the B. We're gonna play 14 and 12 on the G. And then we're gonna play 14 on the D. So that phrase is gonna sound like this. We'll do that again. Notice I kind of pause on that F sharp note. That's something that Eric loves to do, to really hit you with that 9th. This last phrase right here is also going to give us a couple of those Eric Johnson essentials here. We're going to do a little position shift here to the 14th fret on the D string, and that's where I'm going to root out this new E minor pentatonic scale from. I'm going to play 14 and 17. On the G, I'm going to play 14, 16. On the B, I'm going to shift up here and play 15, 17. So now you've played. And then on the high E string, again, I'm going to use that middle note descending concept again here. I got to play 15, 19, 17, 15. And then on the B string here, we're going to shift up to 17 and 15. So now you've played this. And the very last thing we're going to do in this lick is another one of those carefully measured Eric Johnson octave pinch harmonics. Now what I'm doing here is I'm playing that 17th fret B again, the E note, which is the root of the scale for powerful melodic climax. And since I'm on fret number 17, I've got to imagine where would fret 29 be if I had it, right? For me on this particular guitar, I find that it's right at the edge of the neck pickup, like right at the very edge. That's right where that little harmonic note would be. That's going to be different on every guitar that you pick up, especially if it's got 24 frets or something. So what you really got to do is just to kind of work back until you hear that thing whistle an octave up and try to eyeball it every single time you play. And I'll point out one more time here that all of those runs are alternate picked starting on downstrokes. And if you phrase it the way that I put it together there, you're always going to be changing strings after an upstroke. The imperative thing here is that you are in that downward pick slanting kind of position. Do you see how my downstrokes kind of go in and my upstrokes kind of pop out? That's why it's easy for him to change strings after upstrokes, is because his pick is up here in the air. It's easy for him to do double downstrokes when he does like fives and stuff like that too, because again his downstroke kind of runs into the next string anyway and his upstroke pops out. Again, for a lot more info on all this downward pick slanting stuff, be sure to check out Troy Grady's incredible Cracking the Code series and tell him Uncle Ben sent you. Play through it again kind of slow here so you can really watch the picking hand. Again, watch how the downstrokes go in and the upstrokes go out. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that offered some insight into what makes Eric Johnson's powerful pentatonic playing tick. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You guys can follow me on Facebook over at facebook.com/UncleBenEller. And of course, follow me on Instagram at BenEllerGuitars. If you'd like to talk with me about booking some one-on-one Skype lessons, be sure to drop me an email, benellerguitars@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for another cyclic next week. Cheers, guys.